Hi. So we are back. Did you have a good lunch?
Yes, sir.
Right. We were on the presidential election of 1969.
1969.
And as I said, that was a turning point
Yeah.
in the history of modern India. Election results were very close. Mrs. Gandhi proved that she was a gambler. She was good at playing poker. In a three-way contest, V.V. Giri squeaked through by a hairbreadth margin and became the president. The official candidate Sanjeeva Reddy lost the election. The Congress party formally split. The two Congresses held their different conventions. Mrs. Gandhi holding hers in Bombay. I don't remember where the Organization Congress held theirs. But the focus obviously was on Mrs. Gandhi's Congress, which AICC being held in Bombay. I had a premonition. I don't know why. I had a premonition. This did not augur well for my father. It was just a gut feeling. And this was in July. Things unfolded pretty fast. My father's cabinet minister, Ram Subhag Singh, he sided with the Organization Congress, resigned from the cabinet. For some time, P. Govinda Menon, he held charge of railways along with law. And things unfolded very soon, given some of my hunch proved right. And things unfolded shortly thereafter. This was Puja of 1969. The day was Shashti, the day before formal start of Durga Puja. Those days I could just take off barely 10 days of holidays, given my commitments to run the factory, as I said, almost 24/7. And I was on a train with my dad in a saloon, which was attached to the Delhi Kalka Mail. The Rajdhani had started then, but you couldn't attach a saloon to the Rajdhani, being a super fast train. And when we got on the train, the whole contingent of Eastern Railway officials, Southeastern Railway officials, all came to see of my dad, all of them. And on the train, around dinner time, my dad came forward with this bombshell. He told me that this may be his last day in the Council of Ministers. He had heard from his staff that the Prime Minister had called for the resignation of 4 ministers, 2 ministers of state and 2 deputy ministers, who she thought owed their allegiance to the Organization Congress. And sure enough, in the morning, when we hit Allahabad, we got a copy of the Northern India Patrika, and there it was in bold and front page headlines that my dad, along with 3 others, had been asked to tender their resignation. It was a feeling of being let down. It was so unfair. And what was more, hit me hard at that time. I was barely 23. When we reached Delhi and the train pulled into Old Delhi railway station, Delhi Kalka didn't go to New Delhi railway station, it went to Old Delhi railway station. There were these huge contingent of officials who had seen us off in Howrah, and there was not a soul to receive us in Delhi, excepting my father's staff car driver and two of his personal staff people. That was it. This is India's bureaucracy for you. Well, my dad had a feeling of being let down, and my premonition, my gut feeling had come true. Yes, this somehow did not augur well. He did not change sides. He had voted for Giri. He had told Atulya Ghosh that he would continue to support Mrs. Gandhi. I must say Atulya Ghosh took it well. Had I been in his place, I wouldn't have taken it so well. He took it pretty well. And my father continued for some time as an ordinary member. We changed our residence. He immediately wrote to the Housing Ministry to give him a bungalow as per his entitlement. So we left 13 Akbar Road and we shifted to 17 Murti Marg, which was a nice bungalow. I liked that house. It was smaller, but bang on Murti Marg. But somehow, from February, March, we started getting feedback that my father may be taken back in the Council of Ministers in the next reshuffle. Incidentally, Mrs. Gandhi's government had been converted into a minority government. It had lost a big chunk of members, organization Congress members who now sat in the opposition with Swatantra and Jansan, and she was getting outside support from the left, CPI, CPM and other smaller left parties. And my dad had developed a good equation with many of these left MPs, many of them stalwarts, like Bhupesh Gupta of CPI, Indrajit Gupta of CPI, Chitta Basu of Forward Bloc, Professor Hiren Mukherjee, Tridip Chaudhary of RSP. I don't remember who was there from CPM, no big names apart from Jyotirmoy Basu, who was somehow anathema to Mrs. Gandhi. And these people somehow, the feedback that we got was they took up his cause, they had Mrs. Gandhi's ear and said that an injustice had been done to my father and he should be taken back. Now, I don't think there was any lobbying on his behalf by the then Congress arm. And as events would unfold, not only was there no lobbying, these guys, thereafter they showed their true colors. Okay, as events unfolded, by May my dad was pretty sure whenever the next reshuffle would take place, he would be taken back. And sure enough, on 26th of June 1970, there was a major cabinet reshuffle. Some big names were moved to lesser ministries, like Dinesh Singh had been moved from external affairs to industry, and Mrs. Gandhi took the finance portfolio herself, and my father was brought back along with Jagannath Pahadia, a deputy minister who had been dropped, and my father was brought back. He got the portfolio of health, family planning, works, housing and urban development, integrated ministry with two secretaries, but primarily in charge of works, housing and urban development. K.K. Shah was the new cabinet minister. A Mrs. Gandhi insider, Congress party treasurer, a politico, a sort of successor to S.K. Patil doing fundraising, Bombay, Maharashtra. He became a pretty free hand to my father. My father piloted the CMDA bill, Calcutta Metropolitan Development Authority, came into being. But as all this was unfolding, big storm clouds big storm clouds were gathering in the political horizon of West Bengal. Two things. The second UF government again fell with terrible infighting. Ajay Mukherjee not getting along with the CPIM crowd, every day being insulted in writers' building. And again President's rule was imposed with new governor called Shanti Sarup Dhawan. But this President's rule was a lot different from Dharmavira's time, because the Naxalite movement had moved from rural Bengal, from its origins in Naxalbari in North Bengal near our tea garden, and had moved to urban centers and hitting Calcutta. Every day there were killings, stray policemen, not many big names. I'll just take that mobile call. And the Naxalite movement had sunk its tentacles into Calcutta, and well, as I said, my basic paranoia about the communist movement remained. This was also the time when there was the big cultural revolution, upheaval in China, and all over Calcutta it was splashed on the walls. Chairman Mao is our chairman, Chairman Mao, Amadir chairman, things like that. I found it pretty disturbing. But it didn't occur to me. It occurred to me I could be a target. But you know, you sort of don't think of the worst. But we came round to another puja. The previous puja was a bad one. As I said, my father being dropped from the Council of Ministers. This puja time we went on a holiday to Goa, South India, and came back. And then 14th of December 1970, I was physically attacked in my factory, come residence, by 6 people, apparently Naxalites. I vaguely remembered their faces. They used to come to me for jobs. And to this day, I look back and think it's a miracle that I survived. For 72 hours, I was hovering between life and death in PG Hospital, then now called SSKM Hospital. The national newspapers came out with my medical bulletin 3-4 times a day. The radio, television was still in its infancy in those days. The radio news bulletins was full of news about my condition. My dad flew, courtesy Mrs. Gandhi, in an Indian Air Force plane with blood plasma from Delhi to Calcutta. And as I said, to this day, there is no reason for me to be sitting here and talking, giving this interview, which I can only say was an act of direct intervention of some supreme force. 2 things happened out of this incident. It gave a spurt, a fillip to my project in Ghaziabad, because I was transported out of Calcutta and stayed in my father's ministerial bungalow in Delhi, but not for long. The bad times had just started. The present Lok Sabha was dissolved over the Privy Purse issue, which Mrs. Gandhi lost in the House, that vote over the Privy Purse, Prince's Privy Purse. And midterm elections, general elections for the Lok Sabha was called. Pretty short notice. And these elections were contested by my father, well, in very disturbing conditions. The Naxalite movement was at its height in Bengal. his movements were restricted, a lot of security paraphernalia. Secondly, in 67 it was a three-cornered fight. It was Congress, CPI and CPM with a vote division between the left parties, Congress edging them out. This election, it was a multi-cornered contest. Congress, CPI, CPM, Bangla Congress and Gold Congress. Again, I had a premonition that things don't look good. My father was somehow more than confident that he would get through. Well, I don't know. He had this confidence from the feedback that he got from his base, many of whom I felt did not factor in the ground realities. But when the results came, worst fears were confirmed. He lost by a whisker. By a whisker. The margin was, official margin was 1322 votes, the margin of loss, out of about 5 lakhs votes polled. In a recount, it went down to about 840 votes. And had this not happened, the history of West Bengal might have taken a different turn. Because after these elections, Mrs. Gandhi inducted as chief ministers second-rank leaders from various states like Bahubana in UP, Nandini Satpathy in Orissa, Ghanshyam Oza in Gujarat, some others. And as I expected, thereafter, my father found it really difficult to make a comeback. It was not because of lack of trying. 1972, the Bidhannagar Congress, AICC session took place. After Durgapur, the most successful AICC session ever. My father was chairman of the reception committee, took full charge of the session. And all intelligence reports confirmed that had it not been for his involvement, the session wouldn't have been a success. But to no avail. This whole gang of so-called Congressar people, small people, just ganged up. It was like a wall. Just couldn't penetrate that wall. And who are these guys? The PCC president was a guy called Arun Moitro of Shiliguri, who was a small-time local leader. In fact, he stole 3,000 rupees in my grandfather's election of 1962. These were the guys at the helm of affairs of the then Congress. Didn't look good for my dad, didn't look good for the party. The Congress had a brute majority in the 1972 elections, assembly elections. Because again, the Ajoy Mukherjee combination with Congress didn't last long after 71. They got a brute majority. There's a lot of controversy whether the election results were genuine. One will never know. There's many sides to that story. But the organization continued to be in shambles. With Otulababu gone, he was the guy who kept it together. These guys were never organization people. Otulababu never had a post. He was for a short time president of the PCC, he was a member of the working committee. He never took any ministerial post. And then I realized later on how valuable he was to the Congress organization. If these guys had any sense, these guys were bigger people, they should have gone and fallen at his feet. got him back. No, that was not to be. That was not to be. The emergency came. We lived through that. And on my personal side, as I said, the seeds of destruction of the Calcutta factory had been sown in 1969. It went downhill, and in the meantime I had started my Ghaziabad factory. It went into production in 74. It faced problems. There was power shortage. I got a good market. I faced the recession of 74 to 75. But it gradually became a mainstay. The Calcutta factory had sort of, the death knell came in 1978, the floods of 1978. But coming back to the political scenario, in 77, at the central level, Congress lost, Mrs. Gandhi lost, her son lost. In West Bengal, Congress lost, the leftists, the communists came to power, and they just stayed on, even as we talk. They have stayed on. 32 years have gone by. I got married in 1975, and my wife was very young, much younger than me, just out of school. She finished her college after marriage in Delhi from Lady Shri Ram. She done her schooling in Loreto House, and we stayed mostly in Delhi. And after 1977, with the change of scenery on the political horizon, both at the central level and in West Bengal, it was a good time for my father to re-establish his personal equation with Mrs. Gandhi. She had also faced a huge setback. Many of the faces who were opposing my father sort of came out stridently against Mrs. Gandhi, who were her ardent supporters till the other day. And gradually the scenario came as Mrs. Gandhi was making a comeback. She again split the party. She had become pretty adept at that by that time, and each split sort of strengthened her. And she again split the party. Brahmananda Reddy and these guys pushed out, and the Janata government didn't last. They sort of never shed their old allegiances of their parent parties. And in 1918, Mrs. Gandhi staged a comeback, very, very